Some of you may have seen this now viral clip online.
I'm innocent. Fuck you all. You're garbage. That's all, Your Honor.
Miss Thalar.
That was Julissa Thalar, who was cussing at the court, who had just sentenced her for first and second degree murder to life in prison for shooting her 6-year-old son Eli Hart up to 9 times with a shotgun. In this video, we review the events that led up to this unbelievable tragedy and how the Child Protective Services and the custody system failed a young boy who never even stood a chance. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Wicked and Wild, where we cover all true crime, whether solved or unsolved, terrifying or tragic, or just plain wicked and wild. I'm your host, Tyler, here to give you exactly what you came for. Please do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe for more weekly videos. This is the case of Julissa Thalar. Julissa Thalar was born in Toronto, Minnesota on February 5th, 1994. Not much is known about Julissa's early childhood, but what is known is that she struggled with mental health, apparently from a very early age. Julissa would constantly experience psychotic episodes from the ages of 13 to 18, eventually receiving medical and professional help, and was eventually prescribed medication, which was the first step in a long battle of drug addiction. Soon after, at the young age of 19, she would meet, fall in love, and share an apartment with her boyfriend Tori, who was the same age as her, and they seemed to hit it off from the start. Their relationship seemed to be perfect until about 2015 due to Julissa stopping her medication because of her being pregnant. Quickly, their relationship went from perfection to their relationship being so bad that the police would be constantly getting involved. One of these occasions on the police getting involved, Julissa would actually tell the police officer that Tori actually threatened to hurt her and kill her with a shotgun, ultimately lacking evidence and no charges were ever filed. In another instance, Julissa actually told police that Tori threatened to kill her if she ever left him, and just 3 days later withdrawing that complaint and even telling officers that because of her mental health, she constantly accuses Tori of things that he doesn't do. Which, if you ask me, that's a major red flag. The couple would eventually break up in 2016 after continuous domestic abuse complaints from Julissa against Tori. Julissa would then go on to move into her grandmother Linda's house. Now, Julissa's grandmother Linda actually stated that at first she did believe all of Julissa's domestic abuse complaints against Tori, but then quickly realized how good she really was at manipulating people. Now, after their breakup in 2016, Julissa would give birth to their son Eli, and the couple would remain separated for 3 years, and Julissa blocking any attempts at Tori having any kind of relationship with Eli. Now, to show where her mental state's at, Julissa would do something very strange. In 2019, Julissa would actually show up at Tori's sister's wedding totally uninvited, which was an absolutely strange thing to do. Now, just a few months after showing up to Tori's sister's wedding totally uninvited, she would end up calling St. Paul, Minnesota police to report that Tori had planted a nail bomb in her car. Now, the police absolutely looked into this, but no charges were filed, especially due to Tori living in Wisconsin at the time, over 2 hours away. Even though there was absolutely no evidence for any of the complaints that Julissa would make against Tori, a judge would eventually order Tori to stay away from Julissa for 2 years. In the middle of all this weird, strange chaos and bitterness going on, there was a very bitter custody battle going on between the two. During this custody battle, Julissa would actually end up losing custody of Eli for most of 2021, and he would go on to live with her cousin, his wife, and their 2 kids. Julissa would still have supervised visits with Eli in the presence of a social worker, but her mental state proved to have a profound effect on the young boy. During her supervised visits, Eli would refuse to talk to her, hide behind furniture, and even have bathroom accidents. In this same year, Julissa would actually struggle from her drug addiction and actually be arrested from trying to steal drugs from a health clinic. In just 10 months' time, police would have to come to her home over 21 times and she would be kicked out of 2 homes by 2 different landlords. She would also refuse to attend any kind of therapy, court-ordered or not. Tori was also allowed to visit Eli, and Tori proved to be a stabilizing force in Eli's life. Tori would bring toys that Eli liked, and he would spend the entire time with his son, happy to be a dad again for the time that he had. Eli was happy to be with his dad, and it was noted that Eli was noticeably smiling, talkative, and very energetic. In December of 2021, the 2-year court order for Tori to stay away from Julissa was over and up for renewal. Julissa did not attend and actually texted Tori's new girlfriend that Tori should adopt Eli because he's a good guy. When authorities began considering giving custody of Eli to his father, Julissa lobbed unfounded allegations of domestic abuse against Tori and even wrote a letter to the judge overseeing the case saying that she was an amazing parent who always put her son first. Despite having a mountain of evidence showing that Julissa is in no condition to be a guardian of anyone, Eli was allowed to move back into Julissa's home in December of 2021 on a trial basis. During this time, she filed another domestic abuse claim against Tori. She accused Tori of telling Eli that he would make mommy disappear if she won custody, and also blamed him for Eli's unstable behavior of hitting, biting, and peeing his pants. The courts totally rejected these claims, but because of the filing, Tori was now not able to get public assistance in his custody battle. And for the record, it should be noted that in Minnesota, unlike some other states, unwed fathers have no custodial rights unless awarded by a court. In February and March of 2022, Julissa would file 2 separate restraining orders against Tori, but were rejected under the basis of no evidence to support her claims. Linda, Julissa's grandmother, started to realize that Tori really was a good guy, even saying that he doesn't have a mean bone in his body. And after Julissa would file her second restraining order in March, her grandmother would tell her that if she does not drop that restraining order against Tori, that their relationship would be over for good. And that was the last time that she would ever talk to her granddaughter. In March of 2022, Tori would file for full custody of Eli, and a judge ruled Dakota County Social Services full custody of Eli while the CPS case was being resolved. Just 2 months later, on May 10, 2022, a Dakota County judge removed Eli from state protection and granted Julissa full custody of Eli. The judge claimed to have released Eli to Julissa based on the recommendations from Dakota County social workers that Julissa was taking her mental health medication and was taking Eli to his therapy and medical appointments. One social worker even noted that there is no current indication that Eli is physically unsafe in Julissa's care. Just 10 days after being awarded full custody of Eli, Julissa would be pulled over by police while driving. This was on May 20th, 2022, when other motorists in Arona County noticed a suspicious silver car driving with a back window smashed out and a front wheel missing, causing sparks to fly everywhere. The motorist that noticed the suspicious vehicle ended up reporting it to police, and police located the car and pulled it over. And the events that would unfold next would be both aggravating and very disturbing. Police said Julissa looked very disheveled and had blood on her hands, face, and clothes. There was also a lot of blood visible in the rear of the vehicle. When police asked her why she was covered in blood, Julissa explained that she had just got done removing a tampon. For those cops to even believe that for a second makes me wonder. That's a problem. Officers also noticed what appeared to be a meat-like tissue matter in the vehicle, and when asked about it, Julissa said it was deer meat that she had gotten from an unknown butcher the night before. Officers then observed what appeared to be a visible bullet hole in the rear passenger seat rest, which was adjacent to the rear shattered window. Now, the blood and meat-like tissue were present on both sides of the bullet hole. Now, this is just strange to me. I don't know about you guys, but at this point, she would be out of the car, in handcuffs, in my car. There would be a serious investigation going on. But That's just me, call me crazy. The officers then spent about 30 minutes trying to figure out if the vehicle was involved in a situation outside of the Arano jurisdiction, during which Julissa was growing impatient, cold, and refused to sit in the squad car while the investigation was going on. Police decided to release her from the scene and actually give her a ride home, while they kept the car at an impound for a further investigation. Officers on the scene, while taking pictures prior to impound through open windows, noticed a shotgun in plain view next to a gray blanket. The blanket had blood and tissue matter on it and was wrapped in a matter concealing its contents. Upon lifting the blanket, police found a deceased juvenile body with heavy facial trauma. Police would then quickly return to the address where they had dropped Julissa off, and with no answer at the door, police forced their way in and found that nobody was home. Police then reviewed CCTV footage and saw Julissa leaving with a male just minutes before police got there. Police immediately searched for Julissa and the male from the CCTV footage and quickly found them both. The male would be Robert Pickerainen, Julissa's new boyfriend. With this now being a potential murder case, they were both taken into custody. Police tracked the damage the car's tireless rims had caused, and along the route, they found more of the child's remains and the child's car seat, which was severely damaged by shotgun blasts. The Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office confirmed that the deceased juvenile was in fact Eli Hart, and his cause of death was from multiple shotgun wounds. Julissa is thought to have shot Eli up to 9 times with a shotgun. Robert, Julissa's boyfriend, who was found alongside of her and taken into custody, was cleared as a suspect and was released, but agreed to testify in court. Julissa was charged in May of 2022 with first and second degree murder of her 6-year-old son, Eli Hart. After a judge determined that Julissa is competent to stand trial, she was then offered a 40-year plea deal to plead guilty to second degree murder, but she declined. Trial proceedings would then begin on January 30th, 2023, with opening and closing statements the following week. During his testimony, Eli's father, Tori, spoke about how popular his son was at his elementary school and how he dreamed of becoming a firefighter. Robert, Julissa's new boyfriend, also testified and gave jurors a chance to hear about how Eli spent his final hours. Robert testified that on May 19, 2022, Julissa would let Eli stay up late, but then later would become frustrated when Eli became a little rowdy. He continued to testify that Julissa, now enraged, began hitting Eli, with Eli defending himself and actually hitting his mother back. He then stated that Julissa briefly left the apartment with her shotgun to put in the car, returned to grab Eli, and went back downstairs. It was then brought to the attention of the jurors that when Tori filed for full custody of Eli is when Julissa went out, bought a shotgun, and learned how to use it. Robert then claims he fell asleep, and when he awoke the next day, he asked Julissa where she went, and she gave a vague response saying, "I had to go do something." Due to the many red flags of Julissa's behavior, many parties actually made reports to CPS, alarming them that they feared for Eli's life in Julissa's custody. Tori also made numerous complaints about Julissa's past drug abuse and mental health problems, but was always ignored by the courts. Due to the absolute mountain of evidence and testimonies against Julissa, court proceedings moved rather quickly, and her sentencing date was set for February 16th. On her day of sentencing, Julissa shocked the court with that famous, surprising statement.
I'm innocent. Fuck you all. You're garbage. That's all you're on.
Miss Thalar.
Julissa was then found guilty of both first and second degree murder after just 2 hours of deliberation by a jury. Eli's father, Tori, who had warned the courts about Julissa's history of drug abuse, paranoia, and hallucinations, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Dakota County and 3 social service workers, alleging negligence in the warning of family. Now, after researching this case, I wish I knew more about Julissa's childhood, but there wasn't much there. But how could the courts have given this woman this child? It was obvious that Tory was much better suited. He was a father who cared, who tried over and over to be in his life, and was constantly rejected. She was constantly trying to make abuse claims against him. She was constantly trying to get restraining orders against him. All of these things were rejected. But then when Tori tried to get custody of Eli, it's like it wasn't even close. She's the mother. Give her the child. Yes, we see that cops went to her house 21 times in 10 months. Yes, we see that she has past drug abuse problems. Yes, we see that she has mental health problems. But give her the child. I just don't get it. You know, I hope that Tory wins this lawsuit. His family absolutely deserves every penny that they get. I really hope they milk him for everything, because losing a son, I couldn't even imagine. But I hope you guys like this video. Please do me a favor and like, comment, and subscribe. Comment if you know any stories that you want me to cover, research, and make videos of. I really hope you guys like it. I could really use some feedback. And come back for more weekly videos. This is Wicked and Wild. I'm Tyler. Thanks for watching.